Hi everyone, I'm Elizabeth Kipp, member of the Wellness Universe. I'm here to do a reading. I'm going to read my chapter number 24, Forgiveness, How to Transcend Resentment and Live in Peace, from the book The Wellness Universe Guide to Complete Self-Care, 25 Tools for Stress Relief. Here we go. My story. How does an act of kindness turn into resentment and a grudge? It is a strange thing when an agreement is not honored, and the energy from that hurt turns to anger and resentment. When I felt victimized, collapsing into my sense of being devalued by a close family member, my anger and righteous indignation propelled me into a false sense of power. It was a potent emotion and was amplified by the story I was telling myself. How dare they betray me like this? I did not know how to resolve this situation. And so, this unhealed wound festered into a full-on grudge. Let me tell you my story. A close family member was starting a business and asked me for a loan. I agreed because I felt confident in the venture and was sure that I would be repaid. We drew up the legal papers for the loan, signed it with the commitment that once I loaned the money, I would be paid back in monthly increments for a number of years, including the current interest rate at the time. I loaned the money. I was so excited. This seemed like a win for both of us. The money needed to fuel a new business, and I would be repaid the principal with some interest added to it. I received 3 monthly payments, and then the payments stopped. When I asked my relative what was happening, I received verbal assurances that the payments would commence, yet no further payments came. I did everything I knew, the best I could, including acting on the recourse in the loan papers that detailed the consequences of missed payments, including the cessation of the payments altogether. Still, I did not get repaid further. At first, I felt surprised. Then, I felt disappointed. And then, as I realized I was not going to be repaid, I felt hurt and victimized. I turned the energy of this experience into and against myself as I asked myself, how could you have so misjudged this? And how could you be so stupid? But the energy of the experience had a momentum all its own. The hurt transformed into anger at me and then toward the person to whom I had made the loan. My feelings went from hurt to feeling betrayed and personally transgressed. I was mad at the person, at myself, at the whole situation, and even the world. The only way I knew how to deal with this situation was to deny how badly I felt. It can't be all that bad, I would tell myself when I felt my resentment rise as sensation into my body. As time went on, somehow, I unconsciously buried the wound of this experience. But it did not go away. For 10 years, it festered and grew like a crystal inside of me. On a conscious level, I went on with my life. I was estranged from the family member except for cordial season's greetings exchanged at every Christmas. I did not like it, and I did not know how to repair the damage done. And I could not see a way to change my point of view. I felt completely justified in my stance on the matter. We had an agreement. I trusted that you would honor the agreement. You broke the agreement, and in doing so, you dishonored me. I see that in your eyes, I'm not worth the effort to make good on the promise between us. How do you forgive when you're filled with resentment and righteous indignation? This question sat deep inside me for years. It is not like I had any role models for dealing with such hurt. As a child, the people around me either denied their anger or expressed it so vehemently that its expression inflicted trauma on all those present. When it was loosed, I was so traumatized by the effects of the anger projected at me growing up, that I withstood them the best I could, and vowed that I would never inflict or cast anger onto anyone in my life. I did the best I could to live up to that vow. When this loan debacle happened, I did not express my anger because I did not know how to do so in a healthy way. I later learned that pain continues to move through families until someone has the courage to feel it. Denying one's own experience and moving forward as if nothing at all had happened was a way of life in the culture in which I was raised. One day, 10 years after the loan began, I was quietly working at my desk. I realized that in all my anger, I was holding on to a grudge. It seemed to me that I was receiving divine guidance, showing me that I had been doing what I'd been doing all this time. I knew right away how unhealthy this was for myself and my relative. I felt a shift in energy inside me right away. It felt like a softening and an opening in my heart. I had been holding on to intensive negative energy, which was detrimental to me. And because of my righteous indignation, I was projecting the same negativity towards this person, which was injurious to them too, energetically speaking. I saw right then that I needed to forgive my relative for what they had done. I was clear in my intention. I was not condoning what they had done. I was forgiving the trespass. I was releasing the pent-up energy inside me that felt betrayed. I felt another shift inside me. It felt as if a part of me had opened and expanded. The expansion transmuted into compassion for me, for the relative, for all we had been through because of this unfinished business. As I sat in silent contemplation, I felt a sense of liberation. I was grateful for having been granted the awareness of seeing the depth to which my resentment had taken me. I felt blessed to finally be able to process and heal the pain I had carried for so long because of what happened. I felt a sense of peace. I did not tell anyone about my experience of forgiveness at this time. It felt like a sacred and personal revelation. The most extraordinary thing happened 3 days later. My relative called me on the phone as if nothing had ever been tenuous between us to let me know that he had sent me a payment. He spoke of his obligation to me. I was more than a little pleasantly surprised. I had said not one word to this person about my forgiveness work, yet this revealed that the metaphorical ice dam between us had broken. We remain good friends today. Forgiveness, true forgiveness, works like that. I finally forgave both the other and myself. I could not change the past, but in the present moment, I could shift my prospects for the future. I discovered the toxic power and weight of carrying resentment. I managed to find forgiveness before things went too far, and I had lost myself forever. I had to find a way to redeem my soul and live with myself again. At the end of my search, I found ease and serenity. The tool, the why and how of forgiveness. The why. You have an event in your life that shakes you to the core. You feel powerless and helpless to do anything about it. You are filled to the brim with feelings that leave you exceedingly uncomfortable in your skin. You want to find the valve to release the pressure, but you're not sure where it is or how to implement it when you find it. You want to escape, but does hitting the escape button really serve to heal or hinder? I understand. When such challenges in life come my way, a part of me wants to run away. A part of me wants to just crawl in a hole somewhere, shut down and disappear. Or find solace in some distraction or numb my feelings to block the whole thing out. I see myself wanting to look away. I could engage in all manner of what-ifs and why did this happen, and driven myself right into serious illness, myself with such negativity and insistence on holding on. We can be aware of these patterns of avoidance or escapism as a coping mechanism. We can turning toward healing this negative spiral of feeling so we have to sit in suffering. We can allow ourselves to feel what is coming up for us, but not allow ourselves to be gobbled up from the inside out by anger and resentment. We can make peace. Forgiveness, letting go, is more of a process, a shift in perspective, rather than a sequence of discreetly measured steps to follow, and then it's complete. The how. The first step in letting go is presence. We need presence to face our place of resistance around the hurt we experience and allow ourselves to feel where it is expressing itself in the body. Strive to understand the meaning we are making of what happened. We cannot change what happened, but we can shift our perspective on what we believe about this event. Accept our humanness. Anger and frustration are all part of the human experience. Everyone feels these emotions. There is no shame in this. Instead of feeling as if we're in a dueling match with these qualities, we can turn into and accept what we're feeling. We learn to know these feelings intimately and accept them as an integral part of who we are. We deepen into self-compassion. Once we accept we have these feelings, we can come to a place of peace with them. Become willing to forgive. The beginning of forgiveness is being willing to let go of whatever it is that we're grasping onto so tightly around the hurt or wrong done to us. Ask for help from a higher power, a higher authority. The word forgive comes from the words to forgo or forget. We might be able to forgive someone intellectually, but if we do not remove the emotional charge around this event, then we are forgiving, then we have not fully forgiven. We are not saying we're condoning what we're forgiving. We are saying fully forgiving. We might say, I'll forgive, but I'll never forget. By forgetting, we are always going to protect ourselves from being hurt like this again. Hence, we are unwilling to let this incident go altogether. This is not true and full forgiveness. If you're having difficulty truly forgiving, what do? Where do you turn? You turn to a higher power greater than yourself to help you make this difficult step because you do not want this event to stay stuck within you. You may not have found a way to let it go by yourself. You ask, higher power, all that you are, help me forgive all events around this situation, no matter what. Help everyone involved in this situation to forgive me and help us to forgive ourselves completely and totally, please and thank you. As you say this, you might notice a release of energy in your body. The emotional charge that is built up inside the body dissipates. By asking for help, the higher power grants you transcendence through this block of resentment towards what happened. Towards what happened. True forgiveness lies in being able to release what is inside your physiology around the hurt or wrong you experienced. Otherwise, you're not addressing the core of the problem, and it will reemerge. We ask a higher power to help us forgive ourselves. If there are those we cannot forgive, we pray for them and send them a blessing. Drop judgments about the situation. Move from a position of feeling so much negativity to one of neutrality and objectivity. Here again, you can turn to a higher power of your understanding for help. Let go of the fear of uncertainty. The most important teacher lives within you. Remember and honor your worth and your own power. Live in the present. Stop daydreaming about the past and come into the present. resolution, liberation, and peace. Because of the unresolved resentment I held, I had hidden away a part of myself. I was finally able to face the anger and hurt I had felt and accept it rather than deny it. I was able to integrate this lost part of me and a willingness to see things from a new perspective all served to help me transmute my pain and forgiveness into forgiveness. I stopped fighting myself and started working with myself. Forgiveness is a quiet, private journey one takes deep down, where we feel our wounds the most, and into that place where we feel the loving energy of the infinite. It is not on the outside, not a spiritual bypass, spoken with the pretense of proving we're bigger or more evolved, or more kind or loving. It is a personal walk to the core of our being, where we forgive the source of the hurts we feel and grow the courage in our hearts to let them go and live free from their burden. I finally forgive honesty, willingness, releasing judgment, asking for help when needed, and not allowing yourself to be invested in a certain outcome. We forgive for our own sake, not for the sake of someone else. Power seduces. The power of righteousness, the power of righteous indignation, the power of pure anger profoundly lure the injured ego. Yet there is also the power to release one's grasp on their position, to surrender inward to what one feels inside, to forgive, and to love unconditionally. Herein lies a peace that cannot be broken, perturbed, or disturbed in any way. Change what happened. We must realize that destructive power of unresolved anger and resentment gnawing away inside us. Pain is the currency of transformation. We must be mindful how we spend it. Hopefully, we can find forgiveness before things go too far and we become lost to ourselves forever. The act of forgiveness is an active process that allows us to transform pain into peace and live with ourselves again. I hope you enjoyed this chapter. I encourage you to read the other chapters in this amazing book, The Wellness Universe Guide to Complete Self-Care, 25 Tools for Stress Relief. Thank you so much for listening and watching. This is Elizabeth Kipp. You can find me at elizabeth-kipp.com, or I've put my contact in the description of the video.